All right, so in our first story, the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Ayariga, is confident he will be exonerated by Parliament's investigative committee probing the bribery allegations against the members of Parliament's Appointments Committee. This was after the committee abruptly suspended its sitting on Friday, just about when the Boku Central MP was due to appear. Committee Chairman Joe Garte explains Friday's hearing had to be rescheduled following a new twist to the controversy. Well, we'll bring you that story later. But Mahama Ayariga says he remains unfazed and told Joy News he looks forward to telling the whole truth and nothing but the truth. But we'll tell you that story later. Let's move on to another story. And Education Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh says the free senior high school policy to be introduced by government will ensure students will be adding or exiting school at a legally employable age. The minister was responding to questions by some media men upon a tour of some schools in Accra today.
The cripple that was beside the road that Christ wanted to heal, the Pharisees and the Sadducees said it was a Sabbath day. Some people have been enjoying free secondary education, even including tertiary education in this country. Weren't there rich people amongst them? So now is that somebody else's turn to enjoy it. You are talking about what?
No, but my question is, you will agree with me that obviously a lot more people will expect to be enrolled because it's free. Have you made arrangements for the tertiary level when all of these have come out?
Our priority is the secondary education, where we believe that we should make secondary education a right. When the UN started talking about secondary education as a right, we want functionally literate, competent, efficient, effective people out of secondary education. Tertiary education, people will go at the time that they choose to go. The irony of the fact is that before now, JHS was an exit exam. The 14, 11, 12, 13, 14-year-old who left JHS to do his own thing was not even legally going to be employable. But we sat in this country and allowed it to continue. We want the exit of our educational system to be at the level where the person can get gainful employment legally.
Well, the minister also indicated regulatory bodies in his sector, such as the National Council for Tertiary Education and the Vocational Institute, will be sourced to function effectively. Mr. Opoku-Prempeh said this after touring the education village here in Accra.
We are going to support and resource the regulatory bodies to do the job they are supposed to do. And their job is simple, to ensure enforcement of regulations in this country to make Ghana's education worthwhile.
What are you going to do as a minister apart from the resources?
Yes, the resources, they're giving them the law. I'm not supposed to interfere in the work of the regulator. It's simple. Ministers don't interfere with the work of the regulators. Regulators should be resourced and encouraged and motivated to do the work they're supposed to do.
Finally, in response, what do you also expect from them, from hence?
Just do their work. Simple.
You think they've been sleeping?
I haven't said that.
Well, an education regulator with the NCTE, Professor Mohammed Salifu, acknowledged some have not functioned as expected and assured if properly resourced, they would up their game.
All of us have to up our game. We need to be vigilant and make sure that whatever regulatory mechanisms are in place are working quite effectively. But there are always those people who would want to take advantage of the system. You don't get to know them until the problem manifests. And when it manifests, we try to deal with it expeditiously.
You will agree with me that some of your regulatory bodies have come under fire for not really doing their job.
Oh, yes, indeed. Obviously, when there's a problem, it always comes up. A National Accreditation Board, as I know, as soon as any issue like that comes up, they deal with it quite expeditiously. There are issues. There are a vast number of institutions out there, on a daily basis, people are establishing institutions. In fact, the Constitution allows anybody who so wishes to establish an institution to do that. But there are laid down procedures that they need to follow to get that done. And sometimes they do not go through that.
We stay on education, and the tragic death of some 6 kindergarten pupils whose school collapsed on them at Bremanis Kuma has got many other schools in similar situations alarmed. The same fate could befall them. Pupils of the PSK MA Primary School in the Asante Mampo municipality found themselves narrowly escaping death some 5 years ago in a similar accident. They, however, survived and 5 years on continue to study in the same structure, which has become a death trap. The authorities are appealing for support, saying the 4-classroom block built in the 60s by the Kokobeng community has become weak, riddled with cracks, and might collapse. Love FM's Erastus Zaridonko has more.
The Patase Sisiase Kokobeng PSK for short, MA Primary School, was built in 1965 through communal labor. Since then, the community has been repairing and maintaining the structure by themselves. But lack of funds and support, coupled with failed promises from government officials, is gradually weighing down on its rehabilitation. Fear of a collapsing school structure has led to a decrease of the school's population from 275 to 118. These children study under dangerous conditions. These walls are very old and they have started giving way. You can see that parts of it have already fallen off.
It's
Tall wall, so.
Yes, sir. A bands answered them on Tina Musa and Yamiana. No, Nipa Bros, Kumanson of Dim Coffee and Mam Cotter Druid, man.
Well, he says he leaned against the wall that day and then it came tumbling down. This room is the staff common room for the school. The teachers share this room with staff of the school feeding program.
When you are teaching, children find it very difficult to get the understanding because the classrooms are very hot like an oven which is ready to bake bread. And more so, you see snake or reptiles falling on the children as well as the teachers at hand.
Where do these snakes come from?
There's a big tree in front of the school, so they come from this tree.
There have been suggestions that you move from under the shelter, which is of course very dangerous for the children, to conduct classes under the trees. Do you think it's a good idea?
Yes, that is very good because looking at the structure of the building, as we said earlier on, we said that the structure is in a deplorable state. So it is better to move under the trees before anything bad happens to the children.
Have you notified the appropriate authorities about this challenge?
Yes, we've hinted on that. We've written letters to the municipal assembly. We've also written letters to the Director of Education, Mampong, in the Ashanti region.
Whenever it's about raining, they have to bring their books to my house or any other person's house to keep it safe. When they fail to do so, the books get destroyed. We, the parents, are worried about the situation. If we pull down the structure, our children cannot get a place to school. There are only few trees on the compound which cannot provide shade for all the pupils if we decide to put them outside.
Well, it's lunchtime, and as the children queue for their lunch, they live naively of the dangers that exist in the environment where they are supposed to get knowledge. A stitch in time, they say, saves 9. Reporting from Kokobeng in the Mampong municipality, this is PSK MA Primary School. Erastus Asaridonko, reporting for Joy News.
Now, it's often said silence is golden, but in the case of the northern region town, Bimbilla, this saying doesn't hold true. That's because the regent of Bimbilla, Yakubu Andani Dasana, has accused the northern region House of Chiefs for betraying the people of Bimbilla with their silence. He says the House of Chiefs ruled in favor of the chief of the area who was murdered by the opposing faction. As you know, more than 10 people were killed when violence erupted following disagreements between the two chieftaincy factions there. According to the regent, subsequent attacks and killings by the opposing faction on the legitimate traditional authority of Bimbilla have been misreported, and although the House of Chiefs was expected to set the record straight, it has kept mute over the matter. Na Yakubu and Danny Dasana expressed these concerns when a delegation from the Regional House of Chiefs called on them in the wake of the recent violence that claimed the lives of 10 people.
Engaging, firing for a good 3 days without elders coming to separate them is impossible. There are elders in the family. Like day in, day out, you have been hearing that there are fights, shooting in India. It's about the Vona and his family who does that. Not that they are starting it. They are engaging in sex acts. All the shootings, the killings that you have here, it is he and his family that they are attacking.
Now, security personnel deployed to maintain order at the burial of a chief at Kumewu Bodomase in the Ashanti region clashed with some residents on Thursday. Police and military personnel fired tear gas and warning shots to disperse a faction in a raging chieftaincy dispute there during a procession to the burial ground. Insure FM's Nana Asensu Mensah has more.
Factions in the Kumewu chieftaincy dispute sought to endear each other at the burial of the late Achampemhene of Kumewu, Ohineba Krapa Yadom. Some residents said security personnel accosted them on their way to the funeral ground with their leader. They responded by throwing stones and other missiles at the police and soldiers who they allege destroyed their chief's umbrella. Residents said they feel intimidated by the action of the security personnel against their chief. They want relevant authorities to intervene to resolve the chieftaincy dispute in the area before lives are lost.
The traditional people should sit down. They should sit down. Then Otunfo too should come in. You see, sometimes when you say something, some people will think maybe you belong to other faction. I'm from this town. But the man they try to capture, he is not from this town. That is one thing the people of Kumewu should know. This man is not from Bodomase. He is from Anenenya. You see, he is from Anenenya. He is not from this town. So if because of that, they are trying always to intimidate it, they should try their best to stop it.
A 2-year-old dispute over who should become the paramount chief have left residents without peace. 2 persons have been installed separately. Each of them claim legitimacy. Barry Masafo Chinubu Akodia, who resides at Kumewu, was reportedly installed by one of the 5 kingmakers of the traditional council. Bodomasi-based Barry Chinubu Akodia V was also installed separately by the remaining 4 kingmakers. He has, however, been barred from holding himself as chief until he swears the oath before Asantehene. Barry Chinubu Akodia said he has support of majority of the people.
The person Kumewu tise me Nana Chinubu Akodia me tosunu me sha wo kontihi ayi no sa na won kan me yoy me ni boni me koye obi sei ndabi me mpese asem besi Kumewu ama obi apira kontihi de an me ye no boko sa na Achampemhene die me ye no boko nemo kochi webra kofa webra kofti webra me pese na etwa esa se ya asafo nya hene wan swa nkire kontihene wan swa nso ankire akwamuhi enta santi amamre mu no me Nana Chinubu Akodia am tosu nim ana maswa nkire kontire ani akwamu me na me Kumewu Na sanse mi na wo court. DNT na modi apolice for ehunehuna kumomai.
Brema Safo Kobia also insists he is recognized by Menchia Palace, having been gazetted by the Ashanti Regional House of Chiefs. Nana Sensu Mensah reporting for Joy News.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a short break, but still ahead, we'll hear from Boku Central MP Mahama Ayariga as he breaks his silence on the parliamentary bribery probe.
I am here. It's the committee that has decided that they want to adjourn and then sit on Monday. So I am here. I was in the room with you. You saw me.
You're welcome back. Now, the police in Tema say they are investigating the death of a 37-year-old mechanic who died whilst in custody of the police. The family of the deceased, Kofi Awazi, is demanding justice after he died last week at the Bechile police station close to Tema in the Greater Accra region, apparently from injuries he had sustained after being assaulted by a mob. Joy News' Favor Nonu reports the deceased was killed for mistakenly striking a child as he attempted to kill a snake on his own compound.
Kofi Awazi is no more. Kofi Awazi died because he stepped out of this room one afternoon in an attempt to kill a snake that was loitering around this compound. There were kids that were playing around, and he had cautioned that these kids stay away. What happens is that he picks a log and attempts to strike the snake that emerged from underneath one of these wooden structures and materials that are loitered around on the compound. He accidentally knocks the little boy in the head. What happens afterwards is that the young boy's family, the father directs thugs to come in and arrest Kofi. His 7-year-old son narrates the tragic events leading to his father's death.
My father was fetching we are fetching water, and my father was killing some snake, and the snake wanted to eat some boy. After that, the boy had make big, and they said my father to go and see the boy. And when my father go, and they use stick and hit my father.
What happened after they hit your father?
And my father was run, and they cut my father, and they sent to and when they shoot me finish, and they sent to the police station. That time I was crying, and my father said I should not cry.
Your father told you not to cry?
Yes.
When your father was taken to the police station, could he stand on his feet? Was he very strong?
He was weak. They hit the ear and he can't walk.
They hit where?
The thigh. And he stand with only one leg. They lock him and he died there.
Before they there, I could see that they drove the car, come apart for the entrance of the road, so I should come and sit down. Then you go. I say, oh, where's my son? If they say he is in coma. So if he is in coma, they can put him inside the car so that he can put his head on me so that we can go. So I opened the first door, the gate. I could see that nobody sat on the seat. So I questioned them, where is my son? I should sit down, then we go to police station, to hospital. Before I raised my head to see at the back, my son was placed inside the bucket of the car. They cover, they take the tarpaulin or blanket cover. So I get down, I go remove the thing from his face. Then I could see that the blood was coming out from his mouth and the nose. So I said, policeman, you see my son is in coma. What are you telling me? He said, oh man, make it go. I said, okay. Then I got inside the car. Then I telephoned. I rang my woman that I think what's happening. Our son is dead.
The family of the deceased, who left behind 2 children, wants the police held accountable.
It's a total negligence on behalf of the policeman on duty that very evening for admitting the said person who has been assaulted in the police cells. I'm seeking for justice. We're seeking the family, we're seeking for justice.
Human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu has taken up the matter and intends to pursue the case to its logical conclusion.
The police should have taken reasonable care and taken him to the hospital so that he would be treated before even any further actions. But for the fact that police failed to do so and just locked him up, which eventually led to his death, I believe that the police must be held liable for these unfortunate incidents. And I'm expecting that in the next few weeks, the police will take swift action to address this matter. In the first place, the people who did this must be arrested and put before the court. And the Attorney General would have to also intervene and perhaps recommend some compensation for the loss of life to this family. Otherwise, I believe that we would have no choice than to go to court, to seek a redress in court, because clearly this is a case of police negligence leading to the death of Kofi Awazi.
Well, earlier on News Desk, Tema Regional Police PRO ASP Juliana Obeng said an autopsy will be performed on the deceased later this month to determine what caused his death. Now, President Akufo-Addo has conferred on the King of Morocco, Mohammed VI, the companion of the Star of Ghana, honorary division for his commitment to social justice and peace. The King is on a 3-day state visit to strengthen existing relations between Ghana and Morocco.
Decorating him with a state's honor, President Akufo-Addo said Ghana had enjoyed closer collaboration with Morocco in the areas of education and science under the reign of King Mohammed. He praised the king for his continuous commitment to democracy and peace.
You have brought to the high office rare qualities of dedication, integrity, sincerity, modesty, and concern for the well-being of all your people, especially the underprivileged. Your sensitivity to the needs of your people and your strong insistence on integrity and moral principles have won you respect and admiration worldwide. You have steadfastly advocated and supported the pursuance of programs leading to the creation of democratic institutions with equal opportunities for all people for the promotion and preservation of human rights.
Before the conferment, King Mohammed VI had inspected a guard of honor by the Ghana Air Force at the Flagstaff House. He later signed a memorandum of understanding with Ghana. The monarch ascended the throne in 1999 after the death of his father. Among reforms adopted in 2011, the king now has the authority to appoint the prime minister from the party that wins the most seats in parliament in the parliamentary elections, but it could be any member of the winning party and not necessarily the party's leader. Previously, the king could nominate anybody he wanted for this position, regardless of the election results. King Mohammed VI is expected to depart Ghana tomorrow morning.
You're still watching Joy News Prime. Coming up is business, and you would want to stay for it because new small-scale business entrepreneurs are going to benefit from a $1 million funding package put together by the British Council. Details coming right up. Don't go away. You're welcome back. Now, the Member of Parliament for Boku Central, Mahama Yarga, is confident he will be exonerated by Parliament's investigative committee probing bribery allegations against members of the Appointments Committee. This was after the committee abruptly suspended its sitting on Friday, just about when the Boku Central MP was due to appear. Committee Chairman Joe Gatti explains Friday's hearing had to be rescheduled following a new twist to the controversy.
Before the close of day today, they'll be informed whether we should sit on Monday. But I want them to be served with it first. And please, clerk, serve them within 1 hour. Personally, and proof service. Let them acknowledge that they've received it within an hour. I'm sure that they all thought they would appear this morning, so they are all available. Yes. You serve them with a copy of the proceedings, and Honorable Joe also made reference to the certain things that happened on that day. You serve them with a copy of the official report also for that day.
But Mahama Yarga says he remains unfazed and told Joy News he looks forward to telling the full story when he appears before the committee.
Yeah, it's the committee that has decided that they want to adjourn and then sit on Monday. So I'm here. I was in the room with you. You saw me. So I'm here.
You've been given the leverage that you can come along with your lawyers and you can provide any possible evidence beyond just the oral presentation. What can we expect when you appear on Monday, possibly?
Oh, I mean, you are going to speak the truth. Do you need a lawyer to mediate between you and the truth? I don't need a lawyer. So that if you saw me here, I didn't come with a lawyer. Coming to speak the truth to you need a lawyer to maybe to guide you. Yes, I'm a lawyer myself, so I know that sometimes you need lawyers to guide you. But I know the basic rules, so I probably don't need the assistance of a lawyer to guide me. But also, if I'm here to speak the truth,
in this case,
what is the issue about coming with a lawyer to come?
Some other individuals have taken the case to Shraj. The thinking is that Parliament should be investigating itself because then there could be a cover-up and all of that. For you, how should the line be drawn? Should Shraj possibly also be doing what he's doing over this whole allegation that's come up?
I really don't mind. I mean, to be frank with you, I don't mind where it goes. It's in Parliament. It can go to Shraj. It can go to the High Court. It can go to the Supreme Court. Every citizen who is interested in the matter looks at the laws and what room the law provides, and then they take the actions that they want to take. And I cannot, dictate what, free citizens who feel they should exercise their constitutional rights will do. But then, as a lawyer, if you want to advise, you will be minded to tell people that if they want to go to other places, they should check with their lawyers first. Because if a matter is with one arm of government, whether another arm of government can take up the matter, find legal issues that need to be cleared by any institution that intends to take the matter up. So if the matter is already in Parliament and then a parliamentary committee has been set up and is inquiring into it, my basic law will tell me that it will be difficult for, let's say, Shraj to usurp jurisdiction and all that. So my guidance is that people should be patient and follow Parliament and see to it that Parliament is able to do its work. Understandably, there's some public interest in the matter. That's very understandable. But then at the same time, our institutions haven't stopped functioning. They are functioning, and I believe that they will work well, and then they will produce the appropriate results.
Has Shraj contacted you yet in connection with this?
I've read, media reports of people going to Shraj, but there's not been any contact between Shraj and then myself.
Meanwhile, the Commission of Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Shraj, which many believe should have undertaken the probe into the bribery allegations, has served notice it will await the outcome of the parliamentary investigation before it investigates the matter. That is, if it becomes necessary. As you may know, a citizen, Listowel Nana Kusipoku, has petitioned Shraj to look into the matter. In a statement, Shraj Commissioner Joseph Whittal explained why his outfit deferred to Parliament in investigating the issue, and it reads, the Commission is satisfied that the constitution of the ad hoc committee is a lawful and an existing practice deriving its legal basis under the standing orders of Parliament. It's also important that the two constitutional bodies are not made to carry out investigations into the same matter at the same time. The above notwithstanding, Shraj has decided not to exercise its discretion to decline investigating the allegation altogether, but rather at this stage to hold its investigation in abeyance, awaiting the outcome of the committee's findings. For the avoidance of doubt, Shraj reiterates that it would not hesitate to assert its broad constitutional mandates should circumstances after the committee's proceedings and after perusing its report warrant further investigation into the matter. Let's still stay in Parliament because the minority in Parliament is accusing Speaker of the House, Professor Michael Quay, of bias against them. This was after a statement by Nhyaiso MP Kennedy Kankam on political violence, which the minority says was out of place. Joseph Opoku-Gapo has more.
It all started after NDC MP for Sagnerugu A.B. Efuseni on Friday took to his feet to demand a halt in the seizure of state institutions since the NPP won last year's elections. MP for Buisa South and former Deputy Interior Minister James Agalga then contributed to the statement.
After the December 7 election, a number of attacks on government agencies by members and or agents of the New Patriotic Party have occurred in our country. Examples of the agencies of state attacked by agents and or members of the New Patriotic Party include the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority in Tema. And in Tema, Mr. Speaker, it has been reported copiously in sections of the media that the invincible forces were responsible for unleashing the attacks against
NPP MP for Nhyaiso Kennedy Kankam delivered a counter statement outlining similar acts when the NPP lost power in 2008.
Indeed, we encourage the police to live up to their responsibility. However, it is important to remind the police service that they cannot suddenly discover themselves only when events involve suspected NPP supporters and sympathizers.
According to Minority Chief Whip Muntaka Mubarak, the statement by the MP was filled with partisan comments which should not have been admitted.
Mr. Speaker, let me state, my greatest disappointment is to the Speaker, not you, the Speaker himself. And the Speaker, the disappointing tendency of Mr. Speaker to be this partisan is the cause of this problem that we are having. I am saying that for those of us on the majority or minority, we will definitely come under Order 95-3 to challenge, I believe, the conduct of Mr. Speaker in admitting like rightly said, we'll go through the proper procedure because I think he is a father to all of us. He is not somebody to be seen as defending or protecting only the majority.
In reaction, Majority Leader Oseiche Mensabonsu told the House he also experienced similar treatment when the NPP was on the minority side of the bench.
2009, when they rushed me, 9 of them able-bodied people, blood oozing out from various parts of their bodies. I had to hide them, and then the following day took them to the Rich Hospital. When I wanted to make a statement on this in this house, for 8 years I was prevented. The Speaker, for 8 years I was prevented. 2 wrongs certainly don't make a right. So it was wrong yesterday, it is wrong today. And let us all learn useful lessons as we grow up.
He was of the opinion such an investigation of cases of political violence will not be complete unless it includes similar cases dating back to 2008.
The shrill voices that are being raised today about the wantonness that is being displayed are justified. That the nation has no accommodation for such behavior. And these kinds of impunity should not be allowed to have further procreation in this country. They must be decapitated urgently and decisively. Mr. Speaker, criminality has no expiry date. That's why some of us will urge the police to act decisively now. Go back yesterday, what happened? If it is possible to hold them before the law courts and prosecute them, we must do that.
First Deputy Speaker Joe Sewusu, however, urged his colleagues on both sides to build consensus and avoid acts that would divide the country.
I think that it is time Parliament as an institution took these matters seriously, made sure that the police are given the free hand to perform their responsibility as a state institution, rather than we pushing them to become regime police or regime security agency. Most of the time we accuse them of, but we are the agents who push them to get to that level.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta says the major challenge that confronts his ministry is the need to take bold and imaginative risks in order to free the economic space to make it viable for businesses to thrive. Mr. Ofori-Atta, who painted what could be described as a grim picture of the state of the country's purse even before his presentation of the first budget of President Akufo-Addo's administration, said he's still planning on how to go around the challenge. The finance minister was addressing the second in the series of lectures organized by the Achimota School in Accra in commemoration of its 90th anniversary.
The lecture brought together all students, including former Ghanaian diplomat KB Asante. Among other objectives, the school intends to chart a revolutionary course for the current student body and the country as a whole. The finance minister told the gathering the state of the country's finances at the moment is not good.
I'm in the throes of a budget. And you are confronted with a budget deficit, which, if you begin to think rationally and normally, it becomes very difficult to think of the bold ideas as you try to balance the equation. In as much as you want to balance the budgets and to be judicious about it. So my challenge is to free economic space so that people can use the genius of entrepreneurship that we know that is deeply embedded in us.
Also present at the lecture was the CEO of UT Holdings, Martin Mensah, who bemoaned the state of Ghana's textiles industry.
A very perplexing issue when you consider the fate of just one subsector of our economy selected for your consideration, because it is an amalgam of the characteristics of industry, business, commerce, and entrepreneurship. And I refer here to the textile industry. At its zenith, the textile subsector dominated the manufacturing sector in Ghana. In 1970, the 16 textile manufacturers employed 25,000 Ghanaians. Today, 50-something years on, there are only 4 players left in the industry, and they currently employ a mere 2,900 Ghanaians.
Now, with the election of the regional representatives to the Council of State now done and the winners declared, the country will be waiting the inauguration of the body. It has, however, come at a time the relevance of the council itself is being questioned, with many asking why the state would spend thousands of Ghana cedis on a body whose advice the president can choose to accept or ignore. But one of those appointed by President Akufo-Addo to the council, former president of the Ghana Bar Association, Sam Okudzeto, however, disagrees with calls for it to be abolished. The legal luminary tells Joy News' Raymond Dakwa he will vigorously pursue constitutional changes to strengthen the council.
I'm supposed to serve my country. Why shouldn't I be happy to serve?
Okay. But some have said that this Council of State is a toothless bulldog. Recently, Supreme Court decisions have said that it cannot even have its rules and regulations or advice it gives to the executive president of the country being followed. Are you going to serve on a board whose advice may be thrown out or deemed not to be binding on the executive president?
Well, the Constitution did not give them authority to compel the president. And we should draw a distinction between an advisor, a counselor, as opposed to someone who has authority and power. They are two different things. But that does not mean that you should not have a councillor. The councillors are always useful for anybody and everybody, even every individual needs a councillor, because you may be going wrong. Someone needs to point it out to you. We always say that in our own adage and said, when you are cutting a path in the bush, it's only the man who is behind you who can tell whether it is straight or crooked.
You, being a very bold person, being a man who's astute and understands the laws of this country, shouldn't be you at this age be recommending either a replacement of this body with a much more effective, powerful one that can do the work properly?
Maybe you are not getting the picture of what I'm driving at. What I'm saying is that it's all right for me to be outside and be criticizing the institution when I have not been involved in it. I know its weakness, and I have advocated. Indeed, I can even tell you that if you like, you can go and interview President Kufuor, that he and I had discussed it when he came into office to talk about how we can reform and transform that into a more powerful body. But then I told him that it cannot be done because the Constitution is a constitutional provision.
But constitutions can be amended.
Oh, yes, of course. But he cannot go and amend Constitution. There's a whole process of it.
So you think, should that process start now?
Oh, the process already started long ago.
Yes. That process stalled. That constitutional review process was completely symbolic.
There was no reason why it should have been stopped, because a lot of money, millions of dollars was spent on that thing. The report is there. The proper thing is to bring the report. Why was it not implemented?
Okay.
Why was it not implemented? Because someone was not desirous of bringing about the changes.
So what kind of Council of State would you want to see?
I want to see a Council of State which is more powerful, but perhaps even more inclusive, so that you can have people of acumen, people of experience and knowledge who can be there as a proper guide to the presidency. And perhaps even from reference that when Parliament passes a law or a proposed law has come there, they can make a proper input to ensure that the law has been properly debated, argued, and that whatever is coming is going to be in the interest of the country and also in the interest of the presidency and governance.
Let's stay on the Council of State a while longer, because former Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram, E.T. Mensah, has been explaining why he withdrew from the contest for the Greater Accra region slot on the Council of State on the advice of his grandchildren. The well-known NDC stalwart, however, believes he would have easily won the slot. He told Gifty Ando appear on the polls. Although he had received a massive endorsement for his move, his grandchildren were unhappy about the criticism from a section of the public.
The Council of Elders of NDC Greater Accra region, there was a post on the social media that we are a member of the Council of Elders.
Okay.
That we have chosen somebody when we haven't. And I had not even seen it. When I met various people at the presidential meeting, then I started thinking about it. Okay. And then we went to a meeting of the Council of Elders, and they had also heard about it. Some of the people who encouraged me were on that Council of Elders. So the issue was tabled, discussed dispassionately, and they decided to support me.
Okay.
Then another meeting was held at La Palm. And that meeting was a meeting of members of Gandangwe, NDC Gandangwe group.
They also
65 people were at that meeting. The issue was supported, and the decision was taken that everybody must participate in campaigning for me to go.
Okay.
So it is not true that I just jumped in. Oh, what does he want? Is on this, is on that. Those are normal things that I don't think about. Otherwise, I will not be voting for that.
So from what you tell me, even within the party, there was consensus, there was an understanding, there was an agreement that E.T. Mensah should be on the Council of State, advising President Kufuor.
Precisely, because you talk about the regional, I'm talking about the regional, not the national.
The regional executive,
endorsed,
the regional leadership.
And many, many people, let me tell you, 2 days ago.
Now, misconceptions and stereotypes surrounding the beauty industry are as old as the industry itself. Imagine the comments that people make if a successful female corporate professional decides to open a salon or sell hair extensions. Well, that's the story of Chief Executive Officer of Hair Center, Gwen Jima Ado. The stereotypes, according to her, have been a hindrance to women in the industry for decades. She's, however, urging other women in the industry to do all they can to continue dispelling the misconceptions by striving for excellence, irrespective of their educational background. She's been speaking on the Executive Lounge with Inshira Ado. Here's a peek.
I'm shocked that in 2017 people would still think like that. You know, the world has changed a lot. Inshira, the world has really changed. In the olden days, if you go to secondary school, it's a big deal. And then it came to university. Now, you know, I feel almost most people have a university, you know, education. So now it's enough that you have a uni education, but it doesn't end there. It's not sufficient, you know. So people in the beauty industry are not people that are not educated like it was in the past, or people that didn't, you know, attain a high level of education. Things have really changed. People have come to understand that, you know, times have changed. You know, you don't have to be a lawyer, you don't have to be a doctor. You can be highly educated and choose whatever fields that you want. I mean, use me for an example. I have my executive MBA. I could be in any corporate institution and add value to them, but I choose to be in the hair industry, in the beauty industry, and there are so many people like me and more, you know, who are, you know, churning out innovative stuff because of the level of education that they have.
And you can get more of that tomorrow. Catch the full episode of the Executive Lounge with CEO of Hair Center, Gwen Jima Ado. It comes off at 5 p.m. on Joy News.